So the assumption that everybody can do it that way, I think is silly.
Yep.
And I think there's room for dealerships to kind of bring people in. But most importantly, what y'all created was a thing more than motorcycles. It was, I don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
And it could have been European Bike Night at that little restaurant that was by Federal Court.
Oh, yeah,
Captiville.
Mm-hmm.
It was, we're doing the dealer, Triumph 18-wheelers come in with a bunch of bikes. You want to come by, we're having, hot dogs and ride bikes.
Yep.
And I didn't want to miss that because I knew he was going to have, and Zach would have 30 people over there, and they were all cool people to talk to.
So today on the podcast, we have Jacque Touzet, who is not only the lead attorney for Moto Justice, but he's also a customer and friend of ours as well.
Pretty close to family.
Yeah, it's Jacque is a pretty incredible guy to be around. So,
whenever we do, we've done these podcasts before and talked to people about our enthusiast lifetime value algorithm. We always talk about the loyal customers that we identified.
Yeah.
And we noticed that they were all of the customers that we loved.
Yeah.
And we just loved being around. And Jacque was way up there.
Jacque is definitely one of our favorite people to hang out with. It was really fun to hang out with him on the couch and get to know his thoughts of where he thinks this industry is going and some of the things that we can kind of help drive.
From an enthusiast customer point of view.
Yeah, enthusiast point of view for sure. So we hope you enjoyed the episode. Please like, subscribe, share. I can't even say that word. If you would like to sponsor the podcast, please reach out to the Dealer Lab at onex.io. But in the meantime, we hope you enjoy the episode. All right, so it is syphilis. I don't think I hear
Any reverb? No? Good.
I don't think there's reverb. Actually, there's no way for us to
antibiotics
because we don't have the headphones on there.
We should probably address that because every other podcast has headphones.
Yeah, well, okay, so we're going to talk about why we don't have headphones on the podcast? That doesn't seem like a good use of time.
Well, Jacque probably has some input on that.
Yeah, Jacque, do you have any input on headphones in a podcast?
It's going to ruin my hair. So.
That's a really good point. That would be the only thing that would ruin your hair. I believe it. Jacque Touzet, that's who is on the podcast today. Jacque Touzet has been, you're going to have a really unique outlook on all this, right? We're talking primarily to dealerships across the country. We're talking to brands, vendors all across the power sports space and marine listeners as well. So Jacque has been not only the attorney for the dealership for a very long time, seen a lot of things go on, personal injury with motorcycles as well. But most importantly, Jacque is also a customer and a serious motorcycle enthusiast and rides on the track with us. Or I can probably have to say past tense because I haven't ridden on the track in a long time. I don't know if you have.
There's an April date. Why don't you join us?
Is that? Have you been riding?
Yes, I haven't missed one since.
Really?
Yes, y'all got me started in this thing and y'all left me behind. And I just
left
kept going.
you high and dry.
Y'all created fun.
Is Rob Evans still out there? You
Yes,
see him
and
a lot?
Rob, yes, I see him there. He's been there from the start and has not left either. I have pictures of all of us at when No Problem Raceway was our only close option.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you that's a long time ago.
Those were some good days.
We love Rob. Rob is the classic example of one of the best guys on staff and just overqualified.
Incredibly overqualified.
Yeah, it's
Super
like
smart.
we just couldn't pay
and
him.
fast.
Yeah,
Is he fast out there right now?
Yeah, one of my favorite pictures I still have up on my in my garage, and I look like I'm going around the turn pretty fast. But if you look, Rob's ahead of me about a good 40 yards. And that's probably the last time I saw him. It's just those are great times, and NPR was interesting. It's always fun when a
NPR, not the radio, but National or No Problem Raceway.
No Problem Raceway, yes, to distinguish.
Very different audience with
Very.
NPR and NPR.
Yes,
I don't
but
think
it's always fun
anybody
when a zero-turn mower goes right across the track while you're out there.
Yeah.
Safe.
It's impressive. I mean, it leaves a little bit of stuff on the track, but it's fine.
You got to be able to react to stuff at the track.
Well, Rob's a nuclear engineer now, isn't he?
He is a nuclear engineer. He was our service advisor.
So how are we supposed to compete with that?
I don't know,
as
man. We're
dealerships?
trying to replace service advisors. I don't mean replace by like replacing the people we have right now, but we're trying to put service advisors here that can deliver the same type of experience that somebody like Rob Evans could. And he was just an absolute rock star. And I think some of the problem that we see now, and this isn't just unique to our industry, but to find talent like that, somebody that like really, really gives a shit about the customer experience and about tracking the entire repair order process and keeping people updated and figuring out how we solve this particular problem before you just drop a problem in a customer's lap. Like Rob did that. And it's hard to find somebody who has that drive already. So you have to, in most cases, train that and teach that and make it happen.
Pretty damn hard to train.
It is incredibly hard to train. So I want to bring it back over to, you had been a customer of our store before it became Moto Julia. It was TTRNO. And what was it about the store what was your perspective on the store?
It's multifaceted in that it wasn't just a dude that came over here and bought stuff. I mean, and this is, I think, the message to all dealers. I think the real magic ingredient is I felt like I walked into a family, and it really was a family. It was a family affair, but it was more than that. Like you said, the techs weren't, related to you, but they were part of the family too. And for me, I ended up getting brought into the family as well because I was just your neighbor on Barone Street, really a criminal defense attorney. I wasn't doing any civil work, but I was over here, and I loved, y'all always had events. There was always something going on. There was always a reason to be here. And so, or even just to say hi, it was a friendly atmosphere, and never got the feeling, we sold you your bike, what do you need? It was always like, hey, Jacques here, what's going on? It was very friendly. And so what happened with my business was, and I've said this before, especially to Zach as well, your brother, y'all created me. I wasn't a motorcycle lawyer. I was just a dude that rode Ducatis with y'all and had a few laughs and was offering a reasonable doubt at a reasonable price. But y'all would call it was that mindset of what's going on with you, customer, and how can we help? Not just are we selling you a bike or we're not selling you a bike? Because that's a very unfriendly exchange. And it leaves people thinking, well, these real people aren't in my corner. But customers would come in like, oh, this happened. I was hit and my bike's messed up. I don't know what to do. And so things would happen like, oh, well, we have a transport van. We'll bring it over here and take a look and see how bad it is. And then the next thing would happen, well, the insurance company's acting squirrely. Like they won't even call me back. So at that point, y'all would say, hey, we have a friend that rides Ducatis. He knows bikes. He's right next door. Why don't you go talk to him?
Like literally walk over to his office.
Right.
He can give you some advice.
And I was just a dude willing to help because it was sent over by family. It was sent over by you guys. And so fast forward all these years, and I've focused my practice on helping riders, but it started with y'all. And I was not only part of the family, but I was bringing in new family, making sure that your current customers who ran into a problem, that we could help them. And sometimes it translated into, a new bike after the insurance company finally called them back because a lawyer got involved, and equipment, apparel, valuing equipment, helmets. Helmets, they're expensive now. They're expensive back then. You go down in an accident, and you know this from being at the track. Show up to tech with a helmet with a big gash in the side. You're not riding that day. You can't pass tech. You get one crash out of a helmet. And so educating these insurance companies, you got to replace his jacket, boots, gloves, everything, helmet. They are damaged. They are compromised. And y'all would help with that. They would downstairs, y'all would price the jacket, price the helmet, and that business came to y'all. So I think that's really, I don't want to talk too much about law today. This is about dealers, and I think that's the real message I have is that magic ingredient of a little more.
I mean, I think you're right. This is about dealers, but I want to make sure that when we're talking about this, I want dealers to be able to listen to this and realize, like, kind of what you mentioned there of what made the experience as a customer for you better, or at least what seems to have made the experience better, is that the problems that you had were always something that we would attempt to solve, right? It was like something that we could say, yeah, your bike broke down, great, we've got a vehicle, we'll go pick it up right now. Or, hey, I just got in a crash and this problem happened and I'm not getting coverage. Be like, oh, we have a guy for that. And so it was like a lot of those problems were thought through already. And I feel like the experiences that I've had stepping back into the store is that like self-starting mentality of we will figure out the problem for you, because we know that nobody else knows motorcycles as well as, or it should be that nobody knows motorcycles as well as the staff of the dealership. Like that should be the case. And if we didn't know it, we were going to find that answer out for you and get it to you. And it does feel like that has been lost over the last couple of years. Like maybe it was COVID and the demand being so incredibly high that you could sell them and service them and be incredibly busy and successful as a dealership without having to give that kind of white glove service and experience. But without the white glove service and experience, when that's lacking for long enough, people don't want to keep walking in and hanging out. Like, to be honest, it's been 6 years since we sold this store. Like, how often do you come into this store and shoot the shit?
It got rather cold, and you know, it happens in all industries. It's happened in the law, you know.
Really?
The desire for the cheapest product, you know, or who advertises the most, that can lead to some odd results. And what you're trying to do now with these dealerships, and to put the word out and to kind of change it, I guess, holistically, you know, it's happening in the law now too, because we see it here in New Orleans. Before it was just who had the most billboards, and that's who you called. And now you'll notice there's a lot of commercials and billboards that are really setting themselves apart from just who's cheapest, who's biggest.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you don't believe me, just talk to Pamela Anderson's plastic surgeon. It was, what was biggest, right? That was the 80s. Who's got the biggest? You know? And so, and that has changed. You know, in that industry, in this industry, it's now, you know, when you hire my firm, you get me. That's kind of the new.
Yeah.
Or also, because a lot of the older lawyers in town, or the ones that really, and kudos to them because they really started the industry of lawyer advertising, and they fought for that right to the Supreme Court and within the legislature. So kudos to them. But a lot of those lawyers really don't go to court anymore, and for many decades. Yeah. And so now you'll see these commercials of, you know, ask your lawyer the last time you went to court. Ask your lawyer this. And really? It's really getting to that point of we offer more. And so I think motorcycle dealers could take a note from that as well, in that it's not who's got the most billboards or who sold the most bikes. It's who gave you the best experience.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly the
It's exactly what's happening in this industry. I mean, especially after COVID, the amount of consolidation that happened and the amount of mega groups buying up dealerships, and they didn't change anything about processes in the dealership, but all they did was just take the soul out of it, which was like the main attractor. A dealership might not have had the best processes. They might not have done the best job every time, but they had relationships with people.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you have bad processes and you're not doing good work and you take the relationship out of it, then you got nothing.
Then there's nothing. Yeah, you're just depending upon product, and there's nothing about the people involved in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, bringing the people back into it has been a really, you know, when we stepped back into the store, we recognized that right away. Like, there needs to be a better connection with people. But here's something that I don't know if it's happening in your space the same way, but it's definitely been a concern of ours, is that in order to give the experience that we used to give before, like the kind of hand holding, we know the answer, and if we don't know, we'll find it out for you. Like, we are your service department, or we are your dealership, or your community hub. In order to give that, you need to like have enough people and time to pull that off, right? And then in order to run a profitable dealership, and I don't mean profitable as in like we're lining our pockets, but one that doesn't lose money,
right,
requires a ton of time in the administrative tasks of it. Submitting for warranty, ordering parts, tracking, labor times, flooring and management of flooring and inventory turns and wholesale, like all these crazy moving pieces require a lot. So when I sold this dealership, we had 16 employees that were running that whole show, right? 16 employees. It was a 300 unit a year store. This is still a 250 to 300 unit a year store. But we have how many right now? Like 6 or 7?
Whenever we got here in July to take it back over, I think they were down to 4.
Well, we were at 8, and then 2 weeks into us being here, it became 4. That was
effectively was 4.
It's still less than half, even at the most flush point.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that idea, I mean, when they were still running it as if it was staffed appropriately, there was half of what we had done before. Now, I'm not saying that's because ownership said, no, absolutely not. Like, we can't hire those people. But I think a lot of it came down to we couldn't afford it anymore. Like, the margins had shrunk in things. Payroll had increased, and the payroll that you were paying before isn't getting the same quality of employee. It's not only hard to deliver.
Bad management.
It was bad
management. You have to be very clear about that. Customers weren't getting called back. Mm-hmm. Service was dropping the ball.
But is that all because I don't think that's just because somebody was a bad manager. I think that generally,
like overall management, like there was nobody to manage.
True. I mean, if you had taken back in 2018, 19, when we had the whole team, 16 people, it was a great experience for customers. It was a profitable operation. If we had overnight cut that staff in half, it would have turned right back into what this is right now. Like, we needed the headcount to do it. And so I think that's one of the big concerns of what I'm realizing now is not just our industry, but a lot of industries. And you probably see more working with your different clients of kind of what's going on, maybe. Mm-hmm. But it does feel like this is a pretty common thing. Do you feel that same issue now? Is there any shift in headcount and availability in what you're doing or other industries?
Oh yeah, it's ask any insurance company defense attorney, and they'll tell you. I mean, they micromanage the expenses.
Yeah.
And in the old days, I still remember being a young lawyer, and when I filed the lawsuit, the fax machine would go crazy. And that paper was expensive. It was in a little roll. I had to buy it. I mean, that might have been beer money for the week.
Yeah.
And these lawyers, as soon as you file a suit, these old gruff lawyers send you a bunch of discovery, and they call you. We're taking your client's deposition. When is he available?
Yeah.
I had this feeling, oh my Lord, what have I done? Fast forward to today, I beg them for depositions. Can you please send me some discovery requests so I can, I mean, it has changed, and that is the issue. And I don't know if these dealers can unite to get a little more collective bargaining clout with these manufacturers, because if you want to sell a bike for $5,000, which was 2004 pricing, and do that in 2026, and expect everything to just be the same, service, sales, quality of experience, you're nuts.
Yeah, no,
and it's changed in the law, because
what's funny too is that idea of selling a $5,000 vehicle, and I mean, I don't know, we have actually some $5,000, like selling a $5,000 vehicle now is actually probably more common than what we were selling back then, because the displacements have dropped so much. So, when we were back in 2018, 19, there weren't as many 300cc, 400cc bikes. And so I was talking to another buddy of mine from Norton, who was doing a bunch of research on the industry and what size product and all that kind of stuff's working. And he was mentioning that the major unit count, the number of motorcycles sold into the United States from pre-COVID to now, is pretty much identical. Like it's very much the same. But the displacement of those motorcycles has dropped considerably. So you're not buying these. You might be buying a motorcycle that is now 400 cc's that before you would have bought a 1400 cc motorcycle, and the price point on that is hugely different, and the margin on that is hugely different. So you're right. We are selling cheaper motorcycles, more cheaper motorcycles, but the margin's so incredibly tiny, we don't have the profitability to staff up appropriately.
Not selling enough, though, to make up for that that lessened profit.
No, not enough. Just the same amount.
That model works in India. and in Asia
Yeah.
because
Well,
they
because
don't
the
want
volume's even higher though.
2,000 cc, 1,800 cc Harleys over there.
Yep.
They don't want that.
They can't handle
They
it.
can't, and the gas too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of and space and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I mean, it's like parking a Cadillac in
Yeah.
some of these
I mean,
little jurisdictions.
In
But
other areas, India, everywhere else, it is much more of a, it's much more for getting around. Actually, like it's not just the hobby like it is here. But have you ridden any of the new 400 cc's, like the Triumph Speed 400? Have you ridden that thing yet?
I've done plenty of ninjets, as I call them.
Oh no!
But
no,
you're talking
it's-
about like the thumpers, like the one cylinder.
No,
with
the ones that just
Royal
came out.
Enfields?
The new Royal Enfields have come way further the last few years. The Scrambler 400s, or the Thruxton 400, or all those that are just coming out right now.
Yeah, that new little
they're
Thruxton
gorgeous.
400 's
They
awesome.
are. I bought one or Sarah bought one recently, and she absolutely loves it. I ride it just as much as she does. Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting because obviously we've all grown up riding and riding motorcycles for a very long time, and I enjoy the hell out of riding a slow bike fast. And that, I think, is what's interesting is when the 400 or small displacement motorcycles came out in our industry, the hope was this is going to get new riders in. And we actually had a guest on here, Tony Altieri, who mentioned the same thing. What it did was bringing in small displacement didn't necessarily bring in new riders as much as it provided the second and third, like around town bike for the experienced rider. So yeah, we're selling more, but we're still not dropping the average age of a
The
rider
people that
from
I
the
talk
dealership.
to that are interested in them are, people like my dad.
Yeah.
He's got a barn full of motorcycles. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, that looks cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I'd like to try that
that's
out.
fun.
Add that to the stable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as you get older, I'm 55 now. You're not looking to kill yourself.
Yeah, true.
I know I was trying as a 20-year-old. I tried. And so, and getting back to the Pam Anderson example.
Good.
Please.
When we get back
That
there.
has changed. I have a V-Rod Harley, and I love the bike. It's, engine designed by Porsche.
Unbelievable
it's a big beast.
piece
It's
of
fast.
engineering.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great, if you're going to buy a Harley, I think now the Harley people weren't particularly fond of it because it's water cooled, but if you're going to buy a Harley, I think that's a great motorcycle.
My dad had the street rod version, the one with the mid set pegs.
yeah.
on the
Oh, wow.
forward. Yeah, I think it was
Love
a
that.
1 year
that's,
bike.
That's in
bike.
the Porsche Museum in Germany. That's
Yeah.
a beautiful bike. But I have the Night Rod, which is
Yeah.
kind of a little sportier, tighter, smaller tail section version. But I still hop on my 800 Monster, and I tell you, I love these small ninjas. It's gotten to the point where bigger is not necessarily better. Getting the biggest bike out there, I still think back to the when the Katanas and the Ninjas, where I was like, we've got to get that bike. That is the biggest and baddest out there. And as time goes on, especially as riders like myself age, it's really about the quality experience. And having a smaller bike that's nimble to go through these, constant construction in New Orleans, potholes, avoiding all that.
yeah.
I mean, I just slammed through them with that big V-Rod and just hope that gigantic suspension takes the shock out of my lower back. But on that Monster, I stand on my pegs. I mean, I'm zipping around stuff.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the smaller displacement bikes. So between an audience now, worldwide that doesn't want the big gas guzzling bikes and the most power, but needs something that's affordable and nimble and easily maintained, the smaller bikes worldwide are sought after. And also it's coming here because our mindset's changed too.
Yeah.
But like you said, that price point's so low. I mean, y'all are in a tough business. Everybody talks about law being tough. That's a bunch of BS. Your margins in this business are amazingly tight. And so, but you have to have stock, and you have to, so I don't know what the easy fix is aside from getting these manufacturers to sit up and pay attention and know, they've got to support y'all.
I think that, I mean, you're definitely right about the margins being small. I don't know if all the answers just come from the manufacturer. I think that they are also in a weird position because it's not like they're pushing 400s and small displacement bikes to us because, that's the only thing they want to sell us. Like, that's currently the demand. Like, people actually do want smaller displacement bikes. That is a common thread. And so it's this like industry-wide issue that's happening. And it's creating this big shakeup where stores are closing like crazy right now. I mean, the amount of Harley stores that have closed across the country. There's a great publication called Power Sports Business, and every time you open, it feels like every time you open Power Sports Business or you get an email, it's always another like, well, this dealer just closed, and then this dealer just closed,
Yeah.
and then this. So it's like this. Everyone's feeling this terrifying crunch right now, and we're all looking for what's the answer. And unfortunately, the only way out of it, I feel, and this is maybe a little biased, but that's where you as a customer, I think, comes in. The only way out of it is to give the experience that we used to be able to give when we had a staff that was twice as big. And how do you do that?
Well, that's what I wanted to go back to. The name of our company is Onyx for ownership experience. And Max and I were both fixed ops guys, come from service departments. And we see how important that experience is after selling the bike to get them back in, to trade in and get the next bike. Mm-hmm. And so many dealers and manufacturers, they focus primarily on just moving the metal, just selling the motorcycle, see you later, off to selling the next one. And they forget about how important that ownership life cycle is. So you talked about the great experiences you had at TTR&O. Without naming names, you had some bad experiences at dealers?
I've only dealt with these guys, so,
Well, that's good. You're lucky.
No, I don't know if those were all great experiences.
They were, like I said. It was just, you always want to please family. If somebody cuts you off in traffic and it's your friend or family member, do you flip them off? But a stranger, get ugly quick.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. If there was ever a hiccup over here, y'all, if you couldn't get to my bike or something, there was an understanding there.
Yeah.
And, it ended up being so friendly. It was like, well, maybe I need a backup bike. I actually bought your dad's bike.
Yep.
Was my backup bike. And I was talking about, what ifs at the track, or, if I noticed that the brakes were a little too worn, or, I worried about something. And y'all were like, a great thing to do is have a backup bike, and and that made perfect sense to me.
That was a hell of a sales pitch right there.
Yeah, and the same thing with the dyno work that y'all did. I was like, man, I'm thinking about getting a newer bike. We got this beautiful dyno over here. Why don't we just maximize what you got? I was like, bing, I didn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
So we
Sure,
dynoed
Zach
both
loved
bikes.
that.
Yeah. They got about 6 miles to the gallon after they were done.
That's pretty good.
But those are the fastest 750s out there.
Yeah,
I still use those bikes to this day, and I'm keeping up with the Panigales, mostly because I catch them in the back. Keep up on the straight, but the bikes are you maximize what I had. Those were just conversations.
Well, yeah, you said that if there ever was an issue, there was just an understanding. So maybe that just comes down to the communication.
Yeah.
Like
is.
things are going to happen, but if the customer doesn't hear anything, doesn't know what's going on, they're going to expect the worst.
Yeah.
And they're going to expect the dealership to screw them.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's not that communication, building the relationship, then it's just a bad experience.
Yeah, it does seem like your experience is pretty unique, because you have always given us the benefit of the doubt on any of those situations, because we were always so close, both physically and how we work together and friendly and all those things. But yeah, there is that still stealership mentality. There is.
It's a hard stigma to get away from.
Yeah, the like emotional baggage that comes with somebody thinking about a dealership sometimes doesn't let them recognize that, hey, we're not here to hurt you. Like, we're not here to make it hard for you. What's something that really changed, that surprised me a lot? You are a member of this community, obviously, this New Orleans motorcycling community. I feel like when we used to throw events back in 2018 and beyond, before that, 17 or 19, 18, 17, the community would be so excited about those things. Bike launches, track days, all those events we would throw all the time.
Bike launches were huge.
They were huge. They were very well attended. It was a big community. It was really fun. When we announced the Rebirth party, which you came to, the Rebirth brass band played, all that other stuff happened, really well attended. Like, it still was a good party. But man, the social media engagement was so incredibly negative. How many people were just talking total trash? Not even about the store, but about New Orleans and the streets and how everything's awful. And like, I mean, there were some people talking shit about the bikes we sell. And it was just like, everything was just so like combative, which we never had before. So I was so surprised, like, whoa, I really thought that like this would be exciting for motorcyclists around the area. And I didn't realize that was something we needed to overcome. So I don't know, you have any feedback on that?
Those aren't real people; they're just bots.
So,
Let's just say
Russian bots.
You know, it is tough to be in an embattled city. You know, we have budget issues, and that translates to unfixed streets and water mains that break, and rising tide raises all ships, and a falling tide can leave you stranded. And so that's definitely something that is more localized. I just look at. But you can get past that. Negativity kind of attaches to certain things, and it'll stay there unless you remove it.
Yeah.
And I think y'all have, the formula. I mean, this is a beautiful store. Y'all have a great legacy, and I think just like you said, it's not just one easy answer. It's a holistic approach, and the magic is in getting these. Getting younger riders involved. You can't do like what Harley did and double down on, they're having money problems, so they just raise the prices on all their bikes because they're like, the older riders will buy those. Well, that's a class that's shrinking quickly.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to bring in new blood, and it's not a $60,000 live wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks want electric bikes, but they also want them at a price point they can afford.
Yeah. That's a hard market right now.
Right. They're in a tough spot, and. The Buell days are gone. That was kind of their, hey, young people maybe want to go a little fast. We have these Buells.
Yeah.
And, that didn't work out. So I don't know what their attack is going to be. But, the overall thing is you need to figure out how to bring in new blood. And it's probably going to be the cheaper, lower displacement bikes. But part of that is just the communications with like you said, get that going concern, that feeling like I couldn't miss one of your events. I would have had FOMO so badly.
Yeah.
I'll give you a great example. I was using your restroom downstairs.
Ooh, great.
And I saw it was clean. Good. I lifted the seat. But I saw that Thruxton series poster. It's down in the
Thruxton
bathroom.
Cup.
And so that is a great example of creating hype and community. So I love Italian motorcycles. I just do, but I respect the Triumphs. But the Thruxton I always thought was just a big heavy bike. I mean, when I think of flippability and sex appeal, it's a Ducati.
Yeah.
Well, y'all came up with the Thruxton series, and you're like, we're gonna race Thruxtons. I'm like, whatever, man. that's like a sale race. Who's the fastest slow guy?
Yeah.
But then y'all showed up at the track. Y'all started selling Thruxtons and getting them race ready.
Yeah.
And the race series started.
Yeah.
I had FOMO like you would not believe. I was left out.
That was a fun
I still remember
series.
being at the track, and I'm like, who's up next? They're like, oh, they're doing the Thruxton series race. And y'all go out there and dice it up. On
Pinned.
Pinned.
It was fun.
Pinned.
That was a fun series.
These big bikes, and y'all are scraping knees, and I'm like, I saw y'all out there, and I was thinking, man, I missed out. What a dummy.
Mm-hmm.
You guys created that.
I've got a great picture from like standing up top above the service department, looking down on all of the bikes in work, and it's all Thruxton Cup bikes.
Really?
It's probably like 20, 25 Thruxton Cup bikes.
I need that picture.
Dude, it was big.
Y'all
it
you
was
started
big.
that. And like I said, I didn't get it. The people that did, y'all had a lot of fun, and there I am. I have my beautiful Italian bikes, and I did my sessions, and I did my Wera races, and I was in the heavy twins category, is what they call it.
Back to Pamela Anderson.
That's how I won a second. I held my trophy like that. Anyway, but I missed out.
And y'all do that with the 400.
Oh my God!
The
That's the
Thruxton
first
Cup
thing I
400.
thought when I saw that Thruxton 400 was like, this is a Thruxton Cup bike. This would be so much fun. So Harley, I mean, I don't want to say that Harley took a page out of that book like directly, but Harley has made the Bagger series, and I'm sure have you seen the Bagger series?
I have. It's interesting to watch.
Dude, it is going to be in MotoGP, or it is in MotoGP this year. Like, it is like that concept that you can take a real street bike. Now, granted, they are very hopped up, but like you could take a street bike and race it at that level. I mean, it suddenly makes that thing more attractive. So I do think there are some really creative things. Harley's actually doing a pretty awesome thing right now by putting those bikes out. Actually, shout out to Jeff.
We need to get Jeff on here. Jeff's heading up that's our racing division.
Yeah, racing.
I saw a few of those races. Those guys are flying.
They are. They are.
And I get it. It's the Genesis is
and man,
street
I get
bike where you can put, some stuff in the
saddlebag.
Saddlebags.
You can like have my change of clothes.
I don't want to say 6-pack of beer. On the show. That's where my brain was.
Of course.
But you could put, it's a travel bike. We can go for a weekend at the coast with that. You're not.
And watching those series, I'm like getting serious itch to get back into the Thruxton Cup.
Yes.
Like it really does make, because riding race bikes is incredible. Like it's really fun to ride a bike that's set up for it. It's even more fun to ride a bike that's not set up for what you're doing. It is. Yeah, like that way when you go slow around a corner, you can go, it's not my fault. Look, I'm racing this thing, But then when you go real fast, it's incredible.
I put Clint Austin on my V-Rod at the track.
Oh, really?
I just wanted to see it. I right behind him and filmed on his Thruxton, actually had a camera on it, and I followed him. The bike's quick in the straight, but man, scraped there. I've never seen so many sparks going around turns.
How did he make it around those turns?
Clint's a fast rider, man. Harley got all of it out of it, but it's the turns were slow.
Yeah,
Harley had that XR 1200 series.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah,
I saw them do a few races out at the NOLA track.
Yeah,
that was awesome. So yeah, I mean they're still doing it. Hopefully it translates.
Yeah. Racing hopefully turns into motorcycle sales. We'll watch Harley's numbers and see the impact
Ducati
it has.
and Triumph are going after it with off-road with dirt.
Have you seen that? We were at Supercross back in January and watched the debut of Ducati in motocross, or in Supercross now, and Triumph is in Supercross. They both have their
It was wild being in that.
And that's going to pull young riders.
Oh, 100%.
That's the trick.
That's the funny part. Some of these things that we're doing, like introducing small displacement street bikes, we're like, this is all going to be new young riders. And we're like, okay, that wasn't totally it. We get a couple, but it's not as much as we thought. But when we went to Supercross, I swear, the entire audience was 17 years old. Everybody there. They all had flat bill caps.
It was wild being in that arena, which is, you don't want to say like monster truck vibes, because it's not, but it's completely different clientele than especially what we're used to in this European market. But in that arena, seeing Ducati plastered everywhere and Triumph, it was really
it's a wild.
It was really
idea.
cool.
Like, wow, we're now in this. Now we're involved, and the crowds were way bigger at that than I've seen at a lot of road racing. It was crazy.
Packed.
Very, very exciting.
Was it the Angels, the MLB stadium?
Yeah, I think so.
Packed. It had to have been sold out.
Yeah. It's a very, very cool experience. That's a space that we never had in this dealership before, so I don't really know that space very well, but it's something we're adding in here. Another thing that I don't know if you've seen downstairs yet, but it's actually really exciting. The new general manager here is John Franco. John Franco, who you know already, you met, but he is a builder, and not just of bikes but of businesses as well. Like, he has started and created really large exhaust manufacturing companies. He's done lots and lots of things. He's quite an onion. Lots of layers. That's what I mean by that. Layers.
He smells good.
And he smells great. Lots of layers like an onion. That's a Shrek reference. I don't know if you guys watch enough Shrek.
I got kids.
But, okay. Okay, good.
We're with you.
But a couple months ago, Triumph announced a global build competition. And John wanted to enter it. We pulled a brand new Scrambler 1200 off the showroom floor, and he customized the crap out of it. And by what I mean, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, cool, we'll pull it off the floor, he'll make a custom exhaust, maybe put different bars on
different
it,
fenders.
we'll paint it, high aluminum fenders or something. That'd be cool. That'd be a nice touch. He brought it into the shop. Within a couple days, it was down to literally just the motor and the steering neck from the frame. The entire frame had been chopped up into nothing. There was like nothing left of this motorcycle.
Wow.
And then he put it all in a jig, built an entire frame up everything. And so that's sitting in the showroom right now, being entered into first the national competition, and then if he wins that, he goes into the international competition. I bring that up because I feel like there's passion in motorcycling that needs to be there with the owners and operators of the store in order for that passion to trickle down to the staff and make it something that everybody gives a shit about.
It's how you made the Thruxton Cup successful.
We gave a shit about that because we participated in it. It was fun. It was like a community thing that made it all better. And John is basically, there's my Thruxton Cup
First place plaque.
plaques on the wall there.
We're
Yeah,
Western
there you
Eastern.
But now, I mean, we did customs as well. I never did customs at the level that John is doing right now. And so it's really cool.
Ours
to
were
see.
pretty good.
They were really good. They were actually, you did the GT 1000 one. Yeah. Very nice work. But I bring that up because there's got to be this real love and passion and engagement that starts at the top and trickles down. And I feel like the first, John's been here now for 6 months, about 6 months of running the store. Still getting his feet under him on, how to operate each of the departments and turnover in staff and just all those components. But this is about what he's doing right now is more than just, hey, let's build some cool thing. I feel as if he's planting a flag, and this is what we're gonna get back into. We're passionate about building cool motorcycles and making cool motorcycles. If you walk through the showroom, did you see JT Nesbitt's bikes are down there?
Yes.
So we have
Big fan of JT.
we have incredible motorcycles on the showroom floor that aren't even ones that are for sale. It's just come in here and check out the cool shit we're doing. Because if we can get you excited about the cool shit that's in here, then you'll become a part of the community, which will eventually translate into becoming a buyer or a service customer or any of those other things. So
and reinvigorate New Orleans, because that's his big message. New Orleans was a motorcycle town. We had a lot of motorcycle manufacturers right here.
Yeah.
And he's bringing that history back. I mean, I've been to his shop over there, and what is it, the 7th Ward or edge of the 9th Ward? I'm trying to remember my wards.
It's the 7th.
Yeah.
Right? It's,
but it's amazing to see the work he's done. But the real message underneath that is this isn't just some town. This is a motorcycle town.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Look at this manufacturing company that was on Carrollton Avenue.
Yep.
And he'll show you the history of that. So this town can come back to being that. It was always that.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that y'all are breathing life into it.
No, I think it's really fun. I think it also just shows that you've got to, the passion feels like it has left the industry. And I'm not just speaking for this location, but it's not for any other reason than it's just been really hard. And so it's hard to wake up every day and be like, I can't wait to go into this place that I don't know how I'm going to pay flooring this month. And I don't know if I can cover payroll. I know dealers all across the country are freaking out about that because we're talking to them. We're in the conversations of, some guys are doing okay, but nobody's doing great right now. Right. Nobody's packing away a bunch of money right now. And so there has to be some sort of making people excited again to bring them back in. And then, there's something we hadn't shared with you before, but I want to get your take on this. AI. This is going to be
I
interesting.
just left federal court. That's what I'm dressed like. And I think I saw an AI victim in there.
What is an AI victim?
The lawyers are begging for forgiveness in front of federal judges mostly at an amazing pace.
What do you mean?
Because people are asking AI to do their job as a lawyer, and it's spitting out things that look really cool, but they're made-up cases because they have hallucinations.
Yeah.
And so I can just tell you that what the arguments and the brief that they filed against our brief this morning, I'll bet you 1,000 American it was generated by AI.
Really?
Wow.
And it was long.
By a firm, a legit firm utilizing it?
Yes, and it happens a lot, and it happens to big firms too. And
Wow.
senior partner has to go beg a judge, we apologize, and take the sanctions, because when the federal judges have a litany of law clerks that go through all those pleadings, they don't just take your pleadings and kind of glance through them. They go through them case by case. And when they find a case that does not exist, you have some explaining to do.
Wow.
So I don't know what you're going to get after with AI, but I preach caution.
Yeah, no,
across
actually,
all industries.
one of the things that we are really considerate of is that there's dealerships all over the place that are really leaning heavily on using AI to communicate with customers. That's something I'm really wouldn't say like totally
Pretty opposed.
I'm worried about, right? Because I've seen and I've heard engagement with customers. There's a couple programs that like you can call a number and schedule service with, and as soon as a customer notices or recognizes that they are speaking to AI, it like the tone of the customer changes because they know that. I mean, and maybe it's not that they're incredibly angry and disappointed. They know the answers will probably come faster, but I'm not.
They're expecting human interaction.
Right.
And
People
they
Yeah.
didn't
want
get
that,
it.
They didn't
human
get it, and
touch.
it's like if I'm interested in real basic work, if I'm calling T-Mobile to figure out my phone's not working, which would be hard to do if your phone wasn't working. Anyway, if I'm calling a service like that, then yeah, cool. I'll talk to a bot. You can get it handled just as well. But if I'm calling the place that is like my hobby and I'm passionate about, and I can't talk to the people about the thing, then it creates this disconnect, like loss of passion, like we were talking about. Now, I don't think that means that AI is not a good use in stores. I think that there is a proper use of it in certain applications. And my thought has been in the like busy work administrative application of that use. That's what we're trying to figure out. How do you make that happen?
I would say look at the technology that the staff is using. It's been the same technology for over 20 years. And I think that that's the case because the industry isn't big enough for some big player to come in and take on changing and developing new technology because the return isn't worth the investment.
Yeah.
Because
The
even a
industry's too
year
small.
ago, it would be millions and millions of dollars to develop this thing. But now with AI, I mean, you can develop new technology and new platforms to handle back-end administrative stuff
Yeah. So much
for
faster.
a fraction of the cost.
There's room for it in all industries.
Yeah.
I was at a party that was attended by a lot of lawyers, and one of the lawyers, he's kind of a little younger than me, but I call us cusp lawyers. We're not the old guys that did everything by fax.
Yeah.
And that was the new technology. And don't use email. If I catch you using email, that's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And then there's the new lawyers that are heavily dependent. We're those cusp, we are wary of it, but we use it. And he was really touting the abilities of certain, and I think you have to pick your poison. Some are better than the others. So, and they all have different metrics in it. So Grok versus Claude versus OpenAI. They all have their different things that they're good at. One day they're going to be good at everything.
Yeah.
But we're in that stage. So he was talking about how amazing it is that he can take a case and say, print out some discover 25 interrogatories, 25 requests for production for this case, and it spits it out and does a pretty good job of that. What I just saw in court today was a pleading that AI just threw a bunch of stuff out, but
didn't
forgot
review
about
it.
Rule 8, which says it's got to be in your petition. So although it did a good job of spitting out the law and counter arguments, since it's not human, it did know to balance that with the rules of federal civil procedure.
Yeah.
And so if it's not in your complaint, you're in no man's land.
Yeah.
But AI doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So, there's a few different, it's as
It's
good as the
basically-
human running it.
Basically, what we're looking into is, we've got this giant mind map of all of the processes in a dealership and going through line by line and identifying what is safe to implement AI into and what has to be handled or reviewed by a human. And I think that's the most important part.
Yeah. I agree.
I used it
think
with
it's
Starlink last night. I had an amazing conversation. I can't believe this conversation swung to that because I was mesmerized by how smart, obviously it's supposed to be, but so Starlink, obviously, those are smart people.
You saw the like
internet.
Yeah. We have that
amazing
here.
technology
We've got
that
like
shows up and a child could plug it in. And,
Yeah, it really is insane.
high-speed internet.
How fast.
It's unbelievable. But anyway, I was just, trying to figure out, because I have cameras, at the marina to watch my boats. I have cameras in my office, see if somebody's ringing the doorbell or needs me. There's all those things. So I was just looking, but I think the key was this. They didn't force it down my throat. I can call and talk to a human.
Yeah.
I can get an
Oh,
email.
Yeah, you're right.
But they have this, hey, if you have questions, we use Grok AI, and you can, it's like an offer. So
Yeah.
type a couple stupid questions in there.
And you get instantaneous.
Gave me amazing answers and saved me $80 a month as of last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
I asked it a bunch of dumb questions. It was very patient. It instantly knew my account. Said, oh, yeah, account number C175118. You started that in 2024. You use X amount of data. This is overkill, it told me.
Wow.
Wow.
But the difference is, I think y'all can implement that in a way that, like Starlink did, you have other options. You can call us. We'll talk to you on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you're a cusp guy or a young person that likes to talk to AI
Yeah.
and believes in
Give
it,
those options.
give that option. Have all that holistic experience. But a 6-year-old rider, if an automated voice picks up, we're hanging up. They'll hang
Yeah.
up on you. Like, I'm not talking to a computer today. I need a human being. And that's that generation. So it's got to be AI. There's room for AI in every industry, including this one.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's what we're trying to, and I think that it's not because like we want to force it down everybody's throats to make it happen. We do think that there is a huge issue, like we said earlier, that there's these stores used to run on twice the staff, and they can't afford to run on twice the staff, but they're going to continue to shrink if we don't focus on giving back that experience back to the customer. So how do you take half the staff size and let them focus just on the customer, and then take the administrative tasks and have the AI accomplish that? So nobody's upset about AI taking their job. We're taking the stuff that you don't want to do off of your plate so you can give the experience that the customer ultimately needs again.
It still takes the same amount of time to build a repair order and go through the whole service process as it did 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
we've got a fraction of the staff.
There's room for AI right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
And that's not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
It's not going to hurt anybody's feelings. It's going to make everybody more efficient. It's going to make everybody have a better experience. And I think that's that's you will be seeing it happen as it happens, because we're doing it here at the dealer lab. Like, that's the whole point of this, is that that right there is an AI computer that runs agents that will be helping each individual employee across the store, so that administrative work can be handled.
Not customer facing.
Non-customer facing, just administrative back end. So my service advisors can focus on you, and the tasks of when is this part going to get in so I can reschedule it appropriately is going to be handled by that. So
Impressive.
yeah. I mean, that's the stuff
cool
that
looking. I see
we're.
a little-
Samantha,
Yeah,
you can
those
see her in there with all of
That's her team.
teammates.
It's the Bega team. They're called the Bega team because their names are Angela, Pamela, Sandra, Rita, Mary, Jessica. Those are all the names from the Mambo Number 5 song.
Okay, and that's a bot. Those are all bots.
Those are all bots.
She's the
There are
manager
10
of all.
I'm sorry if I offended you with the Pam Anderson jokes. I wasn't expecting that, and
Yeah.
I didn't think. I'm sorry.
Tell
Can you
Samantha.
offend a bot?
I think you can.
I have a lawyer that made Claude apologize to
Oh, okay, there you go.
because it had some kind of a weird hallucination, and you can tell them now. Look, don't give me the answer you
course.
think I want.
Yeah.
And they're starting to respond to that. It's a learning.
Yeah, it's like, don't compliment how great my question was every time I ask you a question. It was a
And then
stupid
make
question.
up a bunch of stuff to make it sound like it's real.
Exactly.
But in the end, it was at a CLA. He was talking. I was mesmerized by it because I mean, this man spends a lot of time with his computer.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was very interesting how streamlined he's made his practice because of
Yeah.
it. But also just that he knows the limitations. And so when he found that it had done something that he didn't want it to do,
You can
he
train
got
it
into
to-
a back and forth until he forced it to apologize. And he got it to do it.
Good,
So
good.
Claude,
Yeah.
AI is humble.
Yeah, it is. And you know what's interesting, too, is that so much has changed over just the last month, and the idea of being able to use agents is a real game changer. That's why we've got 10 of them that actually run on that computer right now. But one of the big pieces of using these agents is creating historical memory. So, like, recognizing that, hey, you did this wrong, we can't do it again that way next time. That couldn't happen in individual chats. If you were having that chat with ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whoever, it would really only remember the equivalent of like 5,000 words it will remember what you're talking about for 5,000 words and just starts forgetting stuff after that. So if you told it, hey, don't ever give me false claims, like always make sure you provide a source for where you found this information. Like that will work right away. And then 5,000 words later, it's gonna go, I don't remember what the hell you told me about that. And so it'll stop doing that thing again. So what has changed over the last few months is the use of like creating memory databases. And so that computer and what we've been really working on is making sure that we can train up an entire staff of virtual staff that assists our real staff by having short-term and long-term memory. So now there's an agent, and now we're just getting into some real nerdy stuff because I spend way too much time with computers now too.
No, I find these very educational because a lot of lawyers, they refuse to learn new tech.
It has to
I'm
happen.
listening.
Yeah. So we've got an agent. I'll get into real unnecessary detail here. We've got an agent named Samantha. Samantha runs on Claude AI, so it's a really, really smart model. But Samantha has 9 other employees, and those employees are all running specifically on that computer. So that means that they are local to that computer. No information can leak out, no private customer information, no financials, and that kind of stuff, right? Samantha can take information and delegate it off to those agents. So it makes it really easy for them to, if I send an email or a Slack message or anything to Samantha, she can communicate back and forth like a regular employee and engage in regular conversation. And then when I get down to like, okay, I need a financial analysis of this, I can submit a trial balance. It submits it out to the 10 other agents. They do their work locally on that computer and then give back a report. So that stuff happens here. But in order for them to remember things, there are agents in there that will capture the conversations I've had with Samantha every 5 minutes, summarize those into bullet points, and then save them in short-term memory. That short-term memory is then reviewed on a daily basis to identify the most important points and then saved in a long-term memory, which is basically a larger vector database. I don't need to explain what that is, but it's another database that basically becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger brain for this. So the issue that I always had, this was last year basically, always had last year. Things are changing so fast. So last year the concern was you can't have an AI agent tell a service advisor what a flat rate labor time is.
It was just fancy Google.
It was like, oh, it just searched really well and found something and maybe it hallucinated, maybe it's not real. And now we can say, hey, we need to look up a flat rate labor time. We could pull it from the database that we've created, and it will be exactly that labor time, exactly the parts that are in inventory because it's pulling it from our DMS. Like it can work across different programs in the computer to actually execute the work on the behalf of the staff. And so that's where it gets smarter, our systems get leaner, and then we can eventually be designing what is a future dealership model. So I kind of mentioned that in the pre-questionnaire, like, hey, this is what our objective here with the Dealer Lab is, thinking about the future, what the future looks like. When we build tools that enable a service advisor to just be the friendly face that's listening and taking notes and giving advice, like human to human, and you take all the warranty administration tasks and the paperwork and all that other stuff off of their desk, and it turns out what's remaining of the customer interaction piece is actually something that you can replicate across different departments. So that means it could become easy enough, and what we're trying here, it could become easy enough to have your salesperson check your customer in for service, or have your service advisor sell your customer a new unit, which now means that we've got these separate departments, right, where you have dealt with the entire time you've owned a vehicle here. You've got a sales department, which is totally separate, doesn't have anything to do with the parts department, doesn't have anything to do with the service department. It's like this very siloed thing where you get handed off from one person to the other.
But then you'll now have a mesh that all.
Now we have this mesh. Yeah. It used to be.
And that happens still, Talk to legal. That might take 3 days.
Yeah.
And the same thing is, sales guy doesn't know what's going on, in the parts department.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, you need to go talk to. That
Every time.
That could be a 1 day delay.
Every time I hand that over, somebody's going to drop the ball. And that's only going to affect you as a customer.
Correct.
It's going to make the
customer
experience
suffers
there.
at the end.
So now imagine, think back on the days you wanted to buy a motorcycle, you talked to my brother. You wanted to get service work done, you talk to me.
Right.
You wanted to get parts or apparel or accessories, you talk to him or Nick Napota. Right? Like those were like totally separate things.
Yeah.
And now the idea is, hey, if like you and I have a great connection and like I'm your motorcycle dude, you can just text me whenever. I can handle any single thing that you would need done. Mm-hmm. So like that kind of like white glove, we will figure it out for you no matter who we are and what's going on. Like that's our thing. We're trying to make that something that can realistically happen in any dealership across the entire country by designing it here, trying it out, and saying, okay, the back end
computers are the connection, right? Because you can't replicate yourself and send it all over the country, can you?
Cannot.
You can do that,
but you can build a really, really badass dealership administration team that can quite literally be replicated across every single dealership in the country.
And if one of my clients comes with a bike that's totaled, and the guys in the shop know that, they can do it from their workstation and say, "Oh, look what we have in stock. We actually have your same bike." And
That's funny. That alert. That
you want us to take care of this one and get rid of it, and then you just go walk out with your new bike. And
you know how many people come through this dealership and dealerships all across the country that the bike's totaled or should be traded, or you shouldn't put $3,000 worth of work into this bike because it's not really worth it, but the service department still does it. That never got teed up for the sales department. Like that information is shared amongst everyone,
right?
And that breakdown doesn't happen anymore. So you're not investing a bunch of money in a money pit just because
or a wrecked bike.
For service.
Nobody likes a wrecked bike.
Yeah. So hey, let's figure out the best way to get you on a bike again. So those are all solutions that we see coming. What is your hope for your experience with the dealership? Like, what if you want to continue to be a motorcyclist and make it easier? And it doesn't need to just be like based on what our vision is of this future, but what would make your life as a motorcyclist easier and more enjoyable?
Just the one-stop shopping, honestly. Just to have a place. If I buy a bike off of Amazon right now for my phone, and I can do that, it'll be at my house day after tomorrow at the latest.
Yep.
Who am I riding with?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not so good with tools. Maybe the handlebars aren't on there when it shows up because they ship it, handlebars off.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not that talented. What happens next? Who's going to put the handlebars on that bike? Who's going to attach the exhaust?
Yeah.
So the assumption that everybody can do it that way, I think, is silly.
Yep.
And I think there's room for dealerships to kind of bring people in. But most importantly, what y'all created was a thing more than motorcycles. It was, I don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
And it could have been European Bike Night at that little restaurant that was by Federal Court.
Oh, yeah,
Captiville. It was, we're doing the dealer, Triumph 18-wheelers coming with a bunch of bikes. You want to come by, we're having, hot dogs and ride bikes.
Yep.
And I didn't want to miss that because I knew he was going to have, and Zach would have 30 people over there, and they were all cool people to talk to.
Yeah.
So I think it's that bigger experience.
So less about the bike that you're on and more about the experience.
Exactly. And offerings that, make sense for everybody. Maybe an older rider, doesn't want his arms pulled off by a 1,000cc bike. And once, he's got or she's got 6 bikes, but number 7 could be that little thumper, that, 400cc displacement bike that's fun to ride. And, if you happen to sneeze under your helmet, you don't wheelie and end up on your back, a powerful bike will do that to you.
Yeah.
So, but these, maybe that's the answer, or getting ways to get these younger people to put their phones down and their iPads and understand that's harder. That's 6 more podcasts.
We got a lot.
Just to have them experience life and adventure
that
isn't virtual.
Yeah.
So that's the next subject matter y'all need to tackle.
The community piece. And if we can build the community piece around what the customers currently want, it's going to attract a lot more people into this, because it's an identity that people can have, and we give them the chance to live it out. I think that's what we really hope for, and we want to be able to see across the whole country. So, Jacques, thank you so much for joining us today. That was a fun conversation.
Awesome.
And
it's exciting.
It is.
Y'all have sharp ideas, and I was surprised by the level of fit and finish of this blog room. I didn't expect to see computer
robot?
with 9 women's faces on it. There are at
the
work right
mega
now
team.
while we're talking.
They are working right now. That is plugging away.
Go to my law office and get some stuff done. Y'all got time.
Max kept telling the avatar, make boobs bigger. Make boobs bigger. But wouldn't do it.
Shame on you. Bigger's not better. I thought we established that today. Sir.
Oh,
Enhance.
God. All right.
Enhance.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And let's go get some food or something.
Let's do it. All right, guys. Cheers.